Welcome to the STARS program, seniors taking active roles in society. And now, here's your host, Anita Finley.
And I have Anthony Kulp here with us. He's always so wonderful, and he's just so good. So let's just talk about Anthony. You have so many clients, in the real estate business that you really get to know them. That's what I like about you. You're not one of these guys, call me on the phone, and what are you looking for?
Yeah.
You really make friends of all your clients, don't you?
You have to. You have to need to learn people's needs.
Right. So tell me about what you really... So you did tell me about this woman, for example. It's a good, we're not going to give her name or anything, but you got really into it. You just didn't sell her a house. You said, okay, what really do you do? What do you want to know, right?
Her son called, and she was in her 80s, but very active, drove during the day, and she was moving down from Georgia, and the son and the daughter wanted her to live near them. And I started to ask, well, what do you like to do? And she liked to volunteer at the hospital. She liked water aerobics. So I asked the son, I said, is that near where you live? Do they have that? And, and there wasn't anything near them there that she could do this. And I said, well, how many days a week is she going to see you compared to doing this? So, of course she was going to do her volunteer work and her water aerobics. And I said, the best place for her to live would be in one of these communities where they did have all of that in the community, and they had other outings for theater and stuff like that.
Sure, they usually have that.
Which just turned them completely around and said, oh, well, maybe it's better if Mom's not right near us because then we're going to be driving her to all these places.
Exactly. So what did you find her?
So we found a couple of 55-plus communities, and another community, it was 62 and a half. We talked about some progressive care communities, and unfortunately, they didn't have the finances for her to move into this one particular progressive care community. And
I have to stop you.
Yeah.
I have never heard that term before.
Yeah.
A progressive care?
Right. That's when you go in and you may have, you just go in and you rent an apartment and you come and go as you like, and then as you start to mature and you may need some medical attention, you get to live right there on campus, and they'll have rehab on campus. There's the most well-known in South Florida is called John Knox, and they're terrific communities. They're a little expensive because there's somebody there to help you. And then you'll go from from just coming and going to supervised care to assisted living to nursing home, all on the same campus.
Anthony, I'm a gerontologist. I've been doing this for 30 years. I have never heard the word progressive care.
Well,
I have to tell you, I love the word. Yeah. I love the word. It's exactly what happens. But did you invent this? They don't call this. No,
it's more, you don't, like
did you invent
community
the word?
That has progressive care won't call themselves a progressive care community.
But you know what? Yeah. It is a very good term.
Right.
It's not, it's not downing people.
Right.
I mean, so this is your invention.
Mm-hmm. Well, no, it's a term. It's an industry term.
No, it isn't. I've been in the industry. I have never heard progressive care. It's usually continuing care. It's never been progressive. Right. And continuing care, But progressive care is really nice.
One of the best things about these communities, in a lot of situations when somebody has to go to a nursing home or they have to, they're going on to these other facilities, they lose their friends. And in these communities, their friends are there the whole time, and they can just walk across the campus to see them or go walk over. Many of them have rehabs right there on the communities. So if you have a hip replacement, you're discharged from the hospital and you can go into their rehab right there. And then they'll go from the rehab on the campus to your living quarters, whether it's in a condo or in a villa or whatever it is. And then they come right to your home and do it. So they're excellent communities. They're not cheap, though.
Okay, but wait. I know, because they had to put money in ahead of time, but as compared to rental.
Right.
But I like the term because even rental communities can be progressive.
Right.
You start out, as independent, and then you need a little assistant, and then the levels of assistance goes up.
Right.
So are you telling me that you are selling that?
No,
You're not doing that.
No,
this
I
is
don't
really
sell them.
this is only who you are.
Yeah.
It's your humanity.
I'll say, I'll tell somebody, I'll deal with people who are moving down in their 70s. And, people who are in great health, sure, let's go find you a condo. But people who you can see that aren't in the best of health, they're not going to be in that condo for much time, for more than 3 years or so. So then I'll say, well, maybe you want to rent a place, or there's a active adult community down the street, and then, you get so many meals there.
Winmore, places like that.
Yeah. Well, there's one, it's I can't think of the name of it, but you rent. It's an apartment. It's about $3,000 a month, but they have entertainment there. They have transportation. They have a cafeteria that you get 20 meals.
Right.
I think it's about $2,000 a month.
No, my mother lived in a place like that. It was called Forest Trace, and it was in Fort Lauderdale, long, long time ago when she was living. And it was a wonderful thing.
Right.
But then, tell you something. It's interesting. After she went through the progressive care part, she was not happy there because it just wasn't good enough. So then got her an apartment with a full-time person watching her in the apartment.
Mm-hmm.
But you're in the real estate business. Let's get back to this. Yeah. And so you sell, you have listings, you have buyers.
Right.
And what happens when you do have somebody who you've sold a home to, and now you can see that they're failing? I mean, you stay in touch with your clients, don't you?
It's usually always best to downsize to something that you can, you still have control over your whole living situation. But if you do decide to stay in your home, there's certain things I suggest that you do, or have, family help you, to make sure that you're not going to get hit with any large expenditures. And, you need to walk around the house. A lot of people, there's months before I'll walk to the one side of my house. I just don't go over there. I don't need to. I go from the driveway to the front door.
So right.
And so, but, once a month, walk around the house, look for any, settling earth around the house, any little sinkholes, uneven pavers or patios, stuff like that. Any leaking, staining, cracking on the outside of the house. They're warning signals to tell you, hey, I'm sick. Fix me. Fix me, or I'm going to get much worse, and I'm going to cost you a lot of money. So, you have to kind of stay on top of these things. And sometimes if somebody loses their spouse, and the spouse always did this, and now they're in the home,
of course,
they never think to go, I got to go look at the eaves on the house, and let me look up at the roof to make sure all the shingles are laying flat and I don't have any cracked tiles. And
there's a lot of advertising on gutters now. You notice that because the gutters get stopped up.
We put gutters on our house. Our house is 40 years old, never had gutters, and I noticed that in the corner of the house it really started to settle. And I said, well, it's our ground is so porous here that water goes through it, but eventually it starts to settle. And so we called. And gutters are relatively inexpensive compared to the damage that they do if you don't have gutters.
Yeah, I don't know much about gutters and what they do.
The worst thing to do is water right up against the house. Gutters should always drain at least 2 or 3 feet away from the house.
See, what people don't know about Anthony Kulp, and I do, is he was a contractor for a long time. So he brings his knowledge of contracting to his real estate business, which is wonderful. I want to go back to the person, though, as you said. Let's say they're living in a 3-bedroom home and they're single now, they're widower. You want them to downsize. So what you're thinking, maybe they should they want to live in a private home or a villa, but they don't want that big home anymore. So you would sell their home for them, and then you would find another appropriate home for them. And they'll actually wind up with some cash, which they could use.
Sure.
Right?
Sure.
And have you had that experience?
Oh, all the time. All the time. A lot of people have a lot of equity in their home. And, the baby boomers, they were always, I got to pay the mortgage off. I don't want to have a mortgage on my house. But it's just, they don't have the income to properly maintain the home anymore. But it's hard. It's hard for people to let go. I raised my kids here, or, I've lived in South Florida for 20 years. We've always had great vacations, and I hate to leave. And you have to, when dealing with senior citizens, you have to have somebody, a friend or a relative that can also be there and also for my benefit. Sometimes people get confused. Well, he said this, and it's best if I have somebody else there that can say, well, that's not exactly what he said. So, it protects everybody.
Well, the other thing is, And I don't know how you feel about it. I've seen some good things. The reverse mortgages
Right.
are very interesting.
Right.
Because if somebody has, as you said, they have a lot of money in their home.
Right.
And then but they don't have a lot of cash.
Reverse mortgage, in my opinion, is great if you're going to stay in your home.
Yes.
But if you're in your 70s and you're going to do a reverse mortgage, but you think you're going to move out in 5 years, then it's not the way to go.
No,
it's
it is a person who wants to stay in their home, needs the cash, and that is a good thing. So,
and you should have a financial planner too.
Well, I was going to ask you, so could they come to you and talk about it, and then you'll find them a financial planner to help them?
Absolutely. Because the financial planner has to tell you, okay, you're going to be able to pull out $200,000 out of your home. Right. Here's how long that $200,000 is going to last. And you need a financial planner who knows about medical assistance or having, if you have to have somebody.
Or a lawyer, somebody who.
Yeah, who can estimate, okay, here's what it's going to cost for the next 10 years. And maybe the last 5 of the 10, you're going to have somebody there caring for you. And this is what that's going to cost. So for somebody just to say, oh, yeah, take the $200,000 out, that'll more than last year. You don't have to make a mortgage payment, and it's not really the way to go.
It's very good advice. And you live in a lovely community. It's a very large community.
Right.
And you can share. Why don't you share about your community? Because I think that if people don't know about it, they ought to consider moving there. It is beautiful.
I live in Palm Air and Pompano, which is altogether consists of about 7,000 units from an efficiency to million-plus homes. And it's on 3 golf courses with 2 community clubhouses that you don't have to be a member of. You don't have to pay equity fees. And another thing we benefit from, the city owns the roads. So we don't have to put money away to redo the roads, and they take great care of it. It's very well landscaped. It's lush. It's a lot of walking paths, and it's a great place. I moved up from just outside Fort Lauderdale, where there was a lot more traffic and congestion, and I was really ready to move into the country. But I had to work, and I was selling things in Palm Air anyway. So I live in a patio home there, so I have the best of both worlds. I get to pull into my driveway. I have a garage. I walk into the house, but I don't have to take care of anything outside the house.
So it's part of the community. Oh, they take care of the lawn and all that?
Correct. Everything.
Oh.
And I can still do a little gardening, make it, personalize it with whatever plants. Lately, we've had this thing for butterflies, so we're planting.
I love butterflies. So you're planting certain
but they ravage whatever when the caterpillar.
Right. So you're planting certain kinds of plants that will attract them.
Right.
Oh, but wait till the butterflies open. Won't that be exciting?
And we have them right by our front door, so when you're walking in or out every day, you see the progression of it.
Now that was really. See, I know so little about you. I thought I knew a lot, but butterflies. Oh, that's very, very fine. Okay, and how about shopping? What is near there to shop?
Oh, well, we have the Walmart Supercenters right across the street, Costco, BJ's, at Copins and Federal, we have a mall. We have the Coconut Creek Mall, and everything is 3 lanes in every direction. So, we have Powerline and Atlantic and Copins.
And you have the Isle.
Isle Casino, which all the big stuff going on there.
Yeah, but right now it's still, you can go in there and still use it while they're under construction, right?
Yeah. We go over and have dinner every once in a while, play slots a little bit.
Yeah, no, it's always been very nice, but it's just been small, and now it's going to be huge, right?
It's going to be massive.
I know
It'll probably be one of the nicest destinations in South Florida.
Oh, so
where you'll go and stay. Like South Beach, you may go down and party for a few days and then you crawl home. But
home, you're funny.
This is going to be, a hotel, condominiums, a town center, a lake. It's a train station. We're hoping to put a train station in. So.
Oh yeah, I know that the trains become so popular. I want to give everybody a phone number to call. Anthony Kulp is my guest, and he comes on once a month, and he's very smart, and you'll see an article you're writing. I know an article for the November issue. He has written. He's famous because he helped people who had dogs get into condominiums because they were always intimidated. But he got his little ears up and said, "Don't worry about it. I will help you do it." He's famous for that. So Anthony can be called at 954-815-9048. 954-815-9048. And you can go on his his website, which is, why don't I have your website?
It's realestatesofl.com.
Oh, I see. I have Anthony at Real Estate. Oh, so it's Real Estate SO Florida.
Yeah.
SOFL.com.
Correct.
I see.
Correct.
That's what you have. And you have really been in the real estate a long time. I have to tell you about that because I just met someone. They said, guess what? I just got my real estate license. I said to myself, oh, no, another person just got their. And, I don't know why people do that, I guess. Maybe it's going to be okay for them if they'll stay in it. But you have to be very careful when, and one thing, Anthony, I don't know if you agree. If you have a friend who's in real estate, you really shouldn't go to them.
It's hard. It's very hard dealing with friends. I mean, I have a lot of friends come to me. I've been doing this for over 20 years. And when it doesn't work out, it hurts.
I know. And, that's right. And then if you're the person trying to sell your home and you have your friend and they're not doing what you think they should do, it is really very bad. So you feel badly telling them, how come you haven't done this or you haven't done that?
Right.
Which brings up
another. You have to communicate. You have to tell them. Lay everything out. This is exactly what I'm going to do. And also, I have to tell them, this is what I expect from you. I expect you to keep it clean. I expect you, we're going to get last minute calls for showings. And, you're going to have to if you want to sell your house, this is, how it happens.
And I'm glad you brought that up. Some people, when you take a listing, it's overpriced. And I know you tell them it's overpriced, but that's what they want. Yeah. Right? And then it sits, and it sits. And I've always said, and people say, you sell my house. It's all to do with price.
Right.
I mean, if you had, you reduce it, ask your broker, what do you think will sell it fast if you need to sell fast?
One of the things people say, well, we can just, my kitchen's dated. Well, we'll just take some, give them a credit for that.
Yeah,
whatever.
Right. No one's.
And one of the things I always say to people, I make it very, very simple. I say, you go to the market and you see a can of peas. You say, God, I love those peas, but I'm just not going to pay $3 for that can of peas. And you go back a month later and you see the peas and you see it's $2.50. You say, God, I love those peas, but I'm just not going to pay $2.50 for those peas. And you go back a month later and you see the peas and they have it priced at $1.50. You say, oh, I love those peas and that's such a great deal. I'm going to buy 2 cans of those peas.
That's it.
So it comes down to price.
It's always price.
Always price.
Yeah, it is. And of course, there are unique situations where someone has a lot of money and they don't care, which is rare. But it is always price. And that's always been I said, and when I used to take a listing, because, I'm a real estate broker, I don't practice it, but I used to say, well, tell me 2 things. What do you want to get for it and how quickly do you want to sell it?
Right. Well, I always come up with 3 listing price. This one, it should sell the fastest. I can't say for sure that it will or not. This middle price, it's going to be on the market for a little while. And then this price, you're waiting for somebody to come and give you your price. Because it's not.
That's it. You have to have something that's unique.
Right.
Otherwise, And
it all depends what time of year. We don't have a steady sales all through the year. In the fall, it's a little busier and. Right. And then it'll dry up a little in the middle of the winter and then towards the spring. And it's just, and you never know. Each year is different. So, I go back and I track what happened last September. Oh, great. We had 6 closings last September or six contracts, 6 sales. And then I'll go back the year before and say, oh, we only had 2 sales. Did we have not enough marketing? What was the reason for that? And
well, I wanted to also bring up another point that I was just with someone who was telling me about selling her house. And what is it with the appraisals? No, not appraisals. You have a contract, and they want to go and they want to. You have to have somebody. I'm the buyer, and I need to have someone check out all the
inspection.
The inspector. And it seems like there are always things they find, and they're not always legitimate. And because they want more money to be able to come from that the seller, right? So talk about that. You must deal with certain people who you really trust.
I do. I deal with the same inspector all the time. I mean, I tell people you can use anyone you want. This is the person I use. They communicate well with me. I've been through plenty of other inspectors, and this is the one that I like to use, but you can use whoever you want. One of the things that happens, the inspector goes through and he finds everything. Sticking doors, loose tiles, and a buyer will come back and say, well, I want all that fixed. Well, when you're buying a home and it's not a brand new home, it's not going to be perfect. So there's a few things that you should expect to work. You should expect the roof to not leak. You should expect the foundation to be okay. You should expect the HVAC to work and the electrical and plumbing. Anything outside of that is just cosmetic, and that's not really something you're going to be able to negotiate. I just had a home inspection yesterday, and there was a problem with the hot water heater, and the seller agreed to replace it, and she's been doing a great job. But then they came back and they said, oh, well, we want this fixed and this fixed. And their own realtor turned to them and said, no, that's not, you're going to lose this deal asking for something that's just not regularly asked for. So.
Okay, well, that's fine. Now let's talk about some of the inspectors who do put in things that aren't really right. And they do.
Well, one of the things you have to remember about inspectors, the case that I really run into is just the opposite, where they didn't find something. And somebody will be living in the house and 6 months later they find it. An inspector can't tear anything apart. They can only do a surface inspection. They can't open walls up, In many cases, with my inspections, fuse boxes are one of the biggest things. And you want to see inside that fuse box because there's a thing called double taps where two wires are going into one breaker. Well, that can cause a fire hazard. It also lets you know that they do additions, any additional items to this electrical and didn't do it right. And that's the thing that's going to tell you. Well, a lot of people will have it wallpapered. They'll have it painted over. And we will not leave an inspection until we're able to see inside that fuse box.
Oh, of course you have to see. You're telling people hide the fuse box?
No. When I'm there with a buyer, anytime I have a listing, I tell them you have to make this accessible for them to come in and see it. But anytime I'm representing the buyer, I'll tell the listing agent or the seller or whoever else, we're not leaving until we can see the fuse box or else we're going to.
It's funny. I have never heard that before.
Yeah, fuse
box tells all, doesn't it?
Well, there's 4 brands of fuse boxes that the insurance companies want you to change. And if you do any upgrades to your electrical system, the county and the city, whoever does the inspections, want that changed out. So, we want to know, is it one of these fuse boxes? And then has it been upgraded? Have they done any, You can tell. You can just look in the fuse box and see whether they've done a correct job or not just by looking at it.
That's interesting. We sold our home in Ocean Ridge. It was expensive. And at the very last, we were living air conditioning. Everything was fine. But the inspector they got, and they did a lot of other shifty things, said that, the air conditioning, this wasn't right. Yeah. And we said, you're crazy. But the deal was very good, and so we just went ahead. It was $125,000 we had to take off the deal to make it go.
Right.
But we just did it because what they were really doing was wanting a reduction in the price, right?
Right.
And we
usually when you're
that.
negotiating the price and the buyer does not feel like they got the price they want, they're going to come back and ask for a lot of repairs.
That's exactly, we knew that happened.
But also as a listing agent, you need to walk through somebody's house and say, do you want to fix these things now? Because they're going to come up. This isn't going to be swept under the rug. This is going to come back. So you can fix it now for less. Because it's always cheaper to fix something than to give a credit for it.
Yeah, that's true.
So, because they're going to want a much higher credit than what it actually costs.
But what you want to do is have Anthony Kulp on your side. Whether you're buying, whether you're selling, he will tell you the way it should be, and he'll fight for you. And I know him enough to know that. So I just can't say enough about him. He's really a star.
I have certain realtors who love to hear from me and certain realtors who hate to hear from me.
I'm sure, because that's what you do.
Yeah.
I'm going over today to the Pride Expo.
In Wilton Manors.
No, wait. Today. Yes, today. Yeah, I'm going over there. Yeah, in Wilton Manors. I'm excited about that. I haven't been to it before.
Right. It's almost as big as yours.
Yeah.
Yours is huge. Theirs is okay.
But this is on the outside.
No, I think it's on the inside.
Where?
It's inside. They have a big room in there. They have a big conference room.
I didn't realize that. I thought it was, okay. All right. Well, I am going. Are you going to go?
No, I can't make it today. I do stop in the Pride Center once a week.
Yeah, but this is a very big on Tuesdays. Yeah, but this is a big expo.
Right.
I'm going to go there. Okay, well, we have our next guest calling in, and we're so happy that you were here. We enjoyed going to the theater with you the other night.
Oh, thanks for having me. The show was great.
Oh, it really was. It was hard to believe, right? Stella.
Yeah.
Blanche.
Great theater, too.
Oh, yeah, it was great. Thank you for coming.